on migration. That's as Athens says it's overburdened and lacks support amid the refugee influx.
If some people believe that they can build fences and place the entire burden on one country because its geographical position has placed it at an objective disadvantage, they should know that this is unacceptable and that Greece will react.
The Greeks are only interested in transporting the refugees as fast as possible to Central Europe, just as before. We are overburdened and can no longer support this kind of policy.
Well, the growing tension between Greece and some EU states came to a head on Wednesday. Austria organized a summit on migration, inviting the Balkan states but not Greece. Athens filed an official complaint to Vienna, saying it was an unfriendly move. For more on the migrant crisis, here's RT's William Whiteman reporting from Athens.
Well, right now I am in a port in Athens. I'm just outside the passenger terminal here. And as you can see, a ferry carrying refugees has just arrived here. It's just there behind me. Reportedly, according to port authorities, there were 1,300 people on board. So far in Greece, in Athens alone, well, yesterday there were 5,000 refugees. Now there are going to be, 6,300 if estimates are correct. Obviously, this comes at a time when Macedonia has just shut off its borders to refugees who are from Afghanistan. Technically, they're still allowing refugees from Syria and Iraq through, but this has meant that Greece is turning into a bottleneck for refugees from other countries. The European Border Agency predicts that these refugees will not be sent back to Turkey as they're supposed to. Instead, they will be remaining here in Greece. We spoke to people in Athens to see what they thought about this.
You can see people on every square, Syrians, Afghans and other refugees. The government is not coping with this situation.
I think the rest of the EU has left us alone and helpless. They should be going more to help solve the migration problem.
Greece is turning into a warehouse of lost souls. It is terrible to see those migrants living in a nightmare. With all the financial and immigration problems, the government hasn't taken the necessary steps to help these people.
And now, obviously, this also comes at a time when, as we were saying earlier, Viktor Orban, the leader of Hungary, declared that his people should hold a referendum and he urged them to vote against refugee quotas. Obviously, it does seem more and more that Europe is turning its back on Greece.
And of course, the migrant influx is the second major crisis to hit Greece in just a few years. The country is still billions of euro in debt and struggling through a recession. Here's how it's been coping with the refugees in the face of financial troubles.
Παρά τις μεγάλες αδυναμίες μας, τις δυσκολίες μας, παρά το γεγονός ότι βρισκόμαστε σε οικονομική κρίση και σε μια δύσκολη προσαρμογή, η Ελλάδα καταφέρνει να αντιμετωπίζει αυτή την κρίση αναδεικνύοντας το ανθρώπινο πρόσωπο της Ευρώπης.
Greece did not cause this crisis.
Countries shall help their neighbors.
Meet this as a union and not as individual states.
It is a global challenge that requires European solutions.
Well, we asked members of two Greek opposition parties whether they thought the EU would lend a helping hand to Athens.
And it's obvious that Greece, of 10 million inhabitants, cannot take in her own shoulders the problems that 500 million Europeans face. And the immigration refugee crisis, it's it's a European, it's a global problem, and we should all try to cope together with the problem. So there are those, and there are enough of them in Europe, that are willing to share, are willing to help. The European countries will back up Greece, and there will be no closing of the interval borders.
The problem is not a Greek problem, it is a European problem. But Balkan countries and Austria are trying to present Greece as a scapegoat in the problem of illegal migration. Balkan countries consider easiest to go against Greece, and all these souls stay in Greece. Greece is in the middle of a major economic crisis and cannot